the top 10 at the Olympia, like we used to qualify, and now, this whole point thing, I think, they decided
top
to change
5
it.
qualify.
Which I totally get, because they definitely need. There's so many shows now, but remember back then, the reason they had the top 10 qualify because there weren't as many shows to qualify.
Yeah.
Now there's so many shows that the guys can jump in, and I still, once again, where are the crazy big names that need to qualify for the Olympia? Why aren't they in these shows? All right, we're back. Episode 34 of the Cutler Cast, and crazy, crazy weekend this weekend. We had a lot of stuff going on, so we're going to talk about some shows, kind of what's happening, and give you guys a little insight on what's happening at the Cutler headquarters here. So I was in actually San Diego this past weekend. Actually, Friday I went to Orange County to pick up another car.
You have a serious problem with cars. We're going to talk about this.
Number 7. So I went out there to pick up a car. I thought I was actually going to stay because I had an event in San Diego on Saturday, meet and greet at Boulevard Fitness. And I figured, okay, I'll get some content, take care of some things out there. But I actually ended up coming back on Friday, which I think you were kind of surprised. And
yeah, because you told me you were flying down there, you were going to pick up number 7, and then you were going to do whatever event and drive it back.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought you did. And then you were like, I'm flying there. I'm thinking, what do you mean flying there? You're like, well, I flew down there, I drove it back, and now I'm flying back because the flights were so cheap.
Yeah, so originally when Angie and I talked, we spoke about going actually for a short trip, take a few days and take a little time away. She kind of decided against it because, she's kind of in her training right now and just kind of focusing on what's happening. And of course, next weekend's her birthday, so we're going to take a short trip after that. So she's like, I know if you stay too long in certain places, you won't want to travel too much. So I decided to fly out kind of last minute. Flew out early in the morning, picked up and drove back, and then flew right back out on another 7:00 morning flight, and landed in San Diego on Saturday. Did the event from 12 to 3. Got to film a JTV, which is now live on JTV. Leg workout and a meet and greet there with my buddy Sean Gilbert. Event was awesome. Saw a lot of new faces that came out, a lot of supporters, but I missed the Patriots, which was happening in Vegas.
Yeah, we were here.
Patriots show was
Patriots is here. I think it was amateur and then just
the pro show, right?
Bikini Pro. And it's kind of cool that you have 2 former Olympia winners clashing in Vegas, and it's not the
And
Olympia.
who's that?
Ashley Kaltwasser, who's won 3 times, and Isa Piccini has won it once. So for those 2 to have 2 monster heavyweights like that are always battling for the Olympia, just doing a regular show in our backyard, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, these bikini girls compete a lot. It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
I mean, people say, oh, it's easy because, if you look at how much bikini has changed, back in the day, I was kind of looking at some physiques the other day. I was bringing it back to like the early stages, even like 2013. Ashley won, in 2013. Yeah. And the physique was way different, man.
Yeah.
The girls are definitely more chiseled.
Yes.
And the posing has changed slightly. But Isa was the Olympia champ. She won, and then she fell back to 5th the following year. 6th, okay.
6th, yeah.
And she put on too much muscle, and now seems like she's settling in with her body, and she's still super young, where Ashley's a little older for a lot of these.
Ashley's in her
girls.
early 30s. And
yeah.
I want to say Isa's like 25, 26.
And they're still, and like Ashley's still crushing it. So she had a time where she was kind of slipping through, and then she came back, and she's won like 33 or 34 shows.
It's the most of all time.
Yeah. In any division.
In any division. She's the all-time winningest.
Yeah, Dexter was 29, right? So
yeah, Isa has really, really good shape, like extremely good shape. And if she dials it in, she's a threat to win the Olympia again.
So she won it. You felt she won pretty hands down, huh?
I personally thought it was a walk away for her because she nailed it, like absolutely nailed it. And when someone that good nails it, it's tough to beat them.
I looked at the online stuff. It said, oh, it's close.
I wasn't there at prejudging,
Okay.
and other people told me it was close, but what I saw at the night show, and they said she looked the same, I thought it was a walk away win for her because she doesn't have flaws, and she
I actually switched her bikini for the first time, and went blue in the prejudging.
Really?
Yeah, first time.
She always wears red.
Yeah, I know red, or I think she wore green maybe, but
yeah.
I think she's going to take that as kind of like a sign of
don't switch it.
Yeah, don't switch it. Yeah, I think she might have been. Was she green in the night show, or do you remember?
I don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember.
Yeah, so I'm sad I missed that because normally when the shows are in town, I try to attend, and I know a lot of people from Fit Club were there.
They had like 7
competing.
competitors.
Yeah,
7.
So I know I saw a lot in their stories, and I like I said, I had a great event, but there was a couple other pro shows that were going on the weekend. Let's touch a little bit upon those. I know Hassan actually got his qualification.
Yeah.
Finally, he brought a crazy physique. AJ Sims helped him out, which was kind of a secret.
Yeah.
He worked with Chris Aceto in the past, and he just really couldn't peak last year. He did so many contests. I think he did 6 or 7 shows last year, and got to the Olympia, but obviously didn't peak in his top condition. But this show, he brought it. He brought a great physique, and he was not alone with Theo sneaking up in second place. And Theo's been coming on, man. He did New York Pro.
Yeah.
He's been coming on. He's been doing other shows, and he's a young guy. And I was out here training with Stanimo, but he has a really good structure, and I think he's a fairly young guy.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar. I'm not sure how old he is.
But he already has the points. He's got to be the points leader with how he's been placing, because he's been second, I think, already, and I think he was 4th at New York Pro when I went out there, and I mean, he's really made improvements. Usually you see a guy that does multiple shows like that not get necessarily better. So for him to keep improving, it's crazy. Normally a guy starts to fade, right? But I think this was his best look of the season so far, and he definitely didn't make it easy for Hassan. But Hassan, what did you think about his body?
I mean, for him, we've always said if he ever came in like really good shape, he would be a problem, and he came in really, really good shape. So
I feel he lost a lot of the roundness though to get it. Do you feel that? But I think he had to do this.
I think they said he was in the upper 230s. I know he's not tall.
But for him, that wow factor has always been something. But I feel like he had no choice. His back was against the wall. He had to come in crazy condition, and he probably he had to come like this, right?
For him to win this show, but I think at like an Olympia level, he's got to be rounder. Yeah. You can't, the wow factor really matters at the Olympia. Now, if he could have that condition and add some size and roundness, then who knows where he could place.
What was the other show?
There was another show in Seoul, Korea, Monsterzim.
Okay.
And the guy who won was Mo Nasor.
I think that's someone Chris Aceto.
Chris Aceto's guy. And then
he looked pretty good, man. He's really round, and I heard something that he's a doctor. He's actually legit doctor.
I didn't know it.
Yeah.
And then Sung Choo Lee got second.
Yeah, and he was kind of favored, right? I mean,
he's the guy that we've always said for years. He has all the tools. If he just came in crazy shape, and for whatever reason, like this is just my personal opinion, it always seems like his tan's a little off. I don't know why. I just always
tans are tricky, man. I always had my secrets on how I used to, for you guys getting ready for shows out there. I always, this spraying was kind of the new thing, right?
Yeah.
But I was using the brush for a lot, or a sponge. And I actually wouldn't use moisturizer for like several weeks prior to the show on purpose, so my skin would actually be dry to suck up a lot of that dye. And I would actually do a Diaderm Pro-Tan mixture.
Okay.
And that seemed to work best for my skin tone, and everyone's skin tone is different. And of course, having a base tan helps. And I don't feel like as many people today have a base tan when they start. Does that make sense?
You know what I remember too? I remember even Ronnie Coleman used to go in the tanning bed. Everyone did, and I don't know if that was just to even or do something to the skin, but nobody seems to do that anymore. They're completely pale the day before, and they're like, all right, that's okay. But guys used to always go in the tanning bed. Why? Do you think that made a difference for you?
I think that, having, certain skin tone and, having your skin like all even, like, because listen, everyone's going to be somewhat like their skin is going to be even
of
color
course.
all through, depending on obviously where you live and, what you're used to for exposure. But I know for me, like I would tan, at least starting 4 weeks out, and then I would stop several days before because I didn't want to burn anything. But I would start putting the tan on like 2 days out, where I feel that they put it on the night before now with a spray, and I just don't think it sits as well and doesn't absorb in the skin. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've noticed, you know, it seems like a lot more recently, where guys will get the spray tan and it always looks like they're smooth afterwards. And I don't know if there's something in it that I don't know. I don't know the science behind it. Maybe we should ask Stacy or someone from ProTan. Why is that certain people, when they get sprayed, they look different than if someone actually brushes it on? You know, and I don't know if there's
and I used to use that small brush that came on the ProTan bottle, you know, and then Jantana came out with her spray and she sent me a sprayer for the longest time, and I would spray at home. And I remember for 2006, man, I was so dark, like you couldn't even see the cuts unless I was in total light, which is crazy. But, you know, having like a good tan is really, really important, and it's just part of the final preparation. So I don't understand why someone would wait until the final hours to put the tan on, because you're not sure how it's going to sit, right?
Yeah.
We see a lot of bad tans.
I don't know. Yeah, we do. You see it. You see it too many times where someone will look crazy a day or two out, and they'll get on stage and they look smooth.
But back then we didn't
out.
have MT2, which a lot of guys use. You know, it increases the melanin in their skin or whatever. So back then, I mean, no one really used that. I'd never heard of it back in my era.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a peptide that you can pretty much get anywhere, and a lot of people use it.
I tried it once.
I used it. Yeah, I used it.
It makes you feel like you want to throw up.
Well, it does it in abundance, but I think if you know, it definitely helps for, you know, if you're very pale, very light, fair-skinned.
Yeah.
I think it also helps people, like, if they go in the sun and avoid getting a lot of burn, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so
yeah, Sung Choo Lee got second, and, you know, I'm not sure what these guys are going to do, you know, going forward from here, but he's always going to be a favorite just because he's just so round and he's got the shape. But I mean, we weren't there to see these guys in person.
Yeah, this
so
point system, man, is just a little different for me.
Do you not like it?
I you know, I'm just one of these people. I think that the you know, the top 10 at the Olympia, like we used to qualify, and now, you know, this whole point thing, I think, you know, they decided
top
to change
5
it,
qualify,
which I totally get, because they definitely need. There's so many shows now, but remember back then, the reason they had the top 10 qualify, because there weren't as many shows to qualify.
Yeah.
Now there's so many shows that the guys can jump in, and I still, once again, where are the crazy big names that need to qualify for the Olympia? Why aren't they in these shows?
Yeah.
I mean, why is Toronto Pro so small? Why,
There's 7 people in the Toronto Pro. 7.
It's
usually
just,
there's 30.
It's mind blowing to me, because like the Olympia, especially being in December now, you know, you have time.
Trying to think what other big names still need to qualify. Ian needs to requalify.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen Sergio. We haven't seen, you know, Kuklow's not
qualified
unless he's going to do points.
But even with points, I mean, look, who's to say another guy won't go do 5 or 6 other shows?
I know Ian's planning to do Tampa, and I think Texas is coming up too, right?
Yeah, try to defend it, both of his in August.
And
he's going to be tough wherever he goes.
Like Arnold UK,
Hollingshead signed up for that one.
But so is the young kid from
Samson has to qualify still.
Okay, he
hasn't won
qualified.
No. Regan qualified from winning Egypt last year,
he's there.
So he's in. I know we're missing some other people, but there's still some big names out there that have to qualify. But there's a lot of shows still this year. There's 2 or 3 more in Europe still. There's 2 in Italy. There's 1 in France. There's the UK. That's 4 alone. Plus, is there open men in the Dubai show?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's 5 right there. Plus, you still got
and these
Vancouver.
These Middle Easterns are unbelievable, man. They're like coming on. I mean, that's the big difference between, like, people keep asking. Someone stopped me the other day and they said, where's like the place now for bodybuilding? And I said Vegas. And then I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? It's kind of the Middle East, right? All these guys going to Dubai, Kuwait, and like there's a lot of powerhouses coming out.
It's super inexpensive to live in Dubai, and it's easier. It's more bodybuilding friendly there than it is in America. You know, you can get your whatever compounds you need. You can get them there legally, and it's just more bodybuilder friendly. And it's super cheap. Like I look at real estate there sometimes, and you'll see some of these high rises are like $300,000-$400,000. That here would be $1.5 million to $2 million.
And there's no taxes.
I know. Maybe I need to move to Dubai. You want to go? Let's go.
It's just so far, man.
It's so far from here, but when you're over there, you're good. Then it's so far to come back.
Yeah, and they have the pro show happening the 22nd weekend of October.
That's my birthday on that. My birthday's on that day.
We've been there.
We've been on there on my birthday. Remember, we walked into the hotel room and they had that little cake for me on that table that was like 30 feet long. Remember we got upgraded to when we said let's downgrade us because we got the presidential and like this shit's way too big. We walked in there one day and there was a little baby cake about this big and it's on my Instagram. It says "Happy Birthday, Matt," and I'm like, how the hell they know it's my birthday? But they make you sign it with your passport.
It's funny. We went to White Nightclub. That was a good time. Actually.
Yeah, on the rooftop.
Perfect time of year.
Yep.
And,
I remember walking up going, we're going to be on a fucking roof, and it's like 100 degrees out.
It was actually nice.
It was nice,
man.
though.
It was
Yeah, it was nice.
And
damn, who performed?
I think I was wearing a scarf, actually, or something.
Yeah, I'm sure you were. You and your scarves. Lloyd Banks performed.
Oh, yeah?
Lloyd Banks performed that night, yeah. And it was on my birthday. We were in club.
That was an awesome tour
we had fun.
did, yeah.
That was, when was that, 2016? 16.
Yeah, 16.
Damn, that was a long time ago. Well,
Time
we'll be there for my
fast.
birthday again this year.
Looks like we may be there again for that. So,
So talk to me about this car you got, because you have a car problem, and I'm going to call you out publicly. You have a car problem.
No, it's just one of these things where, for the first time, I've always had interest in cars, and through my videos and early on. I mean, the first car I ever bought, I bought a sports car in high school, an RX-7. And then eventually when I started doing well, I bought BMWs. Like I bought 7 Series, and then I bought an X5. Like
I remember coming to your house in 07 and you had a whole garage of BMWs.
I had
the convertible,
I had a 6
the 7
Series, I had a 7, I had the Porsche Cayenne.
Yep. And
I had an
SUV.
Yeah, an X5.
Yep.
And I at one time that was kind of the truck that I bought, but I migrated. I end up getting my dream car, which was the Lorenzo Mercedes. It had the Lorenzo package on it. Larry, you remember that car? And I had the Cayenne.
It's
Porsche,
still around.
Crazy. Yeah, it's still around somewhere. But and then of course it goes up and up and up from there. I bought a Porsche Turbo at one time, and I bought a Jaguar, which I thought, wow, this is like super fast and whatever. And then it just got more and more. I remember buying the Rolls Royce in 2013, and the Range Rover, and then eventually we, ended up this year, and I just got on the list for all these cars. And for the first time ever, you can actually make money selling cars, because I'm buying everything at retail price. So I bought an S-Class, an S580 that just came in, but I'm really doing a lot of custom work to it. You've seen the pictures. You guys will see it soon, but it's crazy.
I'm going to hijack it from you.
It's probably one of the better builds I did. And I had a Lamborghini Urus months ago. I sold it. And just got another one, actually, a special order that I got, which is the car that I picked up on Friday. So it's really nice.
How was that drive back?
It was amazing. I wish I didn't get stuck in so much traffic, but it's kind of funny because I ship all my cars. I buy everything usually in California just because the volume's better and the pricing works. I have a relationship. And I thought, I always had this dream when I was younger to drive a Corvette was my dream car. And drive it across the desert, convertible vet, and I did that. I did that in around 2001. I was able to drive across a 4-hour drive, and I said, you know what? I want to drive this truck back, because obviously the Lambo truck is like super fast. I had the exhaust done already, but I got kind of stuck in a lot of stop and go traffic, so I couldn't really get it to where I wanted to.
How fast you get it up to?
About 120, not super fast. And it's nothing like the Tesla's just way faster than anything,
Yeah.
So I got that Tesla X Plaid earlier in the year. So, right now that's, driving that. Of course, today I'm driving the Suburban, but I have a lot of cars. I have a couple G-Wagons, Rolls Royce.
You have 7 cars right now.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I know, but there's a rhyme or reason why I do it, right? So
which one would you sell first if you could sell any?
It's a good question. The last one I would sell is a Tesla.
That one you just want to hang on to?
I want to hang on to it just because it makes the most sense. It's practical. I get rebates, everything on that. I didn't buy that one to flip it, although I could flip it for money because there is a wait list on it. I would probably say the Rolls Royce because I drive it the least. the older G-Wagon, which is back here right now. The S-Class, probably. I just want to try to get some content with it because that was an exciting build for me, but I haven't driven it yet, so I don't know how it drives. It went right to the shop to get all the stuff done.
Yeah, you literally haven't even sat
Yeah,
in it.
I haven't really driven it. So, I mean, the Lambo truck, obviously, I'm going to keep for a minute, but I'm kind of excited to drive that one more. I'm actually going to use this one a little often. Mm-hmm. And, the thing is with me is I'm always working. Like, I'm always hauling stuff around. And, like today I picked up shirts from the print shop next door, and I had to bring them over and sort through stuff. So a lot of times I'm, like, just busy with that kind of thing. But, man, I feel blessed to be able to do these, buy these cars and, be able to have something. I've just always been a car nut.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily like to drive super fast. So you notice a lot of my vehicles are more luxury driven, but you made a good point today. And the technology has changed so much on vehicles, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, dude, the Tesla drives itself,
Yeah.
It's got all self-driving and the Mercedes is all new technical everything. I mean, you get to drive it, Larry, right?
Larry's got two. I sat in Larry's. I wish I could afford one.
Right.
He's got all the money. They're nice though. They got.
That's the one thing about living in Vegas is, we don't endure the snow and whatever. I mean, you have a 4-wheel drive truck. My Suburban's 4-wheel.
You have to have 4-wheel drive in a truck, or it's not a truck.
Yeah.
That's just how I've always felt.
When they optioned me, they're like, "Oh, you only need 2-wheel drive Suburban." I'm like, "Man, give me the 4 just in case I decide to go to Big Bear or one of these places and like I might need the 4-wheel drive, right?"
You never know. I mean, you never know if you're out somewhere and even if it starts raining and how there's times where we get I don't want to say mudslides, but you get like areas where water gathers up.
Yeah,
you could get stuck.
You want to know the crazy thing? So I was driving across last Friday to Vegas, and if any of you do this ride, so it's basically the 15 freeway all the way, right?
Yep.
15 north. And I literally I was wondering why the stop and go traffic was happening. So I get down to this this valley, and I can't see anything because the wind is so strong blowing through. There's a
sandstorm.
It actually was a huge monsoon of sand, and it was drifting onto the road. So literally, when I got home, I drove through this, and you couldn't see 2 feet in front of you. It was like a whiteout. My truck had this much sand on the rims, just from it blowing across. It was going through. It wasn't coming at me. It was blowing across, and it was just fine sand. And it was just crazy because I'd never seen that before, ever driving from California to Vegas.
I've seen it a couple times where I'll look out on my balcony, and normally when I wake up in the morning, I can see all the lights at night, and you can see. And there's one time earlier this year, I went outside and looked, and I swear you couldn't see 100 feet. It was like orangish. And you saw that it said on the Weather Channel, it said sandstorm warnings.
What do you think is your least favorite thing about living in Vegas? Is it the winds? Is it the heat? Is it the cost of living? What is it?
I don't know if there's any one thing that I really dislike.
I don't like the wind.
The only thing I would say the thing that I would like to have a house on the water, and that's just difficult.
Well, you can live in Lake Las Vegas.
You can. It's just really way overpriced, and it's far. Not that I really care how far things are, because
you only just make your decisions based on the airport distance.
Yes,
because you travel so much.
Yes, and it's been like that forever. You want to be close to the airport, and you don't think about it until you live far away from an airport.
I'll tell you, bro. When I took those 2 7 a.m. flights,
you realize how far you were.
No, 15 minutes.
Oh yeah,
no traffic.
Of course,
crazy. 15 minutes from my house.
Yeah, how fast
to the airport
were you going?
Like the speed limit, but it was clear roads Friday and Saturday. Friday and Saturday took me 15 minutes to get to the airport.
Yeah,
that's fast.
Of course. When I looked it up in Lake Las Vegas, it's actually a shorter distance to the airport than your house.
Okay,
but
you're on that 2-lane road, right? That's not good driving from Lake Las Vegas.
4 lanes now though? From
Lake Las Vegas to.
I'm almost positive it's 4 lanes.
What's the downside of driving from Lake Las Vegas to the action here?
You got to take either Boulder Highway or you go to 215.
215 around, yeah.
But you get backed up, right? at lights and stuff, or no?
Yeah. I mean, well, no, sorry. Going out there's not bad, but coming into the city is where
Yeah.
That's what they say.
It just
but
depends
I've
on the
seen
time.
videos where they
Yeah.
time it. Yeah, if there's certain times of day where anything's bad, right?
how fast was it to get from the Mandarin to the airport?
Shoot, so fast in the Mandarin. Yeah.
See, that's what I miss about being back home in Wisconsin because the airport was 4 miles from my house. And if my flight was at noon, I left my house at 11. I'd get there 45 minutes before. I'd go to walk in. They'd know my name already. Matt's coming in. They'd check me in, and I'd just get right through. Here, just depends on the day.
I flew into Orange County on Friday, man, and I was like, damn, I missed this airport, because it was smaller.
Except when you take off from that airport.
Yeah, well, it's just the times are like awkward, because it's they take off super fast for the sound restriction. But
Yeah.
you pull out there and it's like so much, the Uber's right there in the garage. And I thought about, damn, like last time I went to LA, you had to walk a distance to even get the Ubers. Like you have to take a shuttle now or something, right?
You have to take a shuttle to the Uber area and
Yes.
then wait for the Uber in different areas. Yeah. It's like,
That's a cab thing.
it's a pain in the ass,
The
man.
cabs like complaining about
Yeah.
Ubers and
it's a pain in the ass. Like certain airports you go to, you can just order an Uber and it just pulls right up. Like when I went to Sacramento for the World's Strongest Man, you order it and right where your bags are, you walk out the door and the Ubers pick you up right there. It's simple. And then other places you go to, you have to take a shuttle or it's on even here when we get our bags, you got to go to the elevator, go up a floor, go down, cross over, take another elevator up, and then you have to go
What do you
snake their
tell
way through.
people though if they were considering moving to Las Vegas right now? What are the ins and outs of Las Vegas?
Vegas, in my opinion, doesn't have any negatives unless you have a gambling problem, if you have a party or drug problem, or you have like a shopping problem. Because if you're someone who's constantly going to Louis Vuitton and Gucci and all this other shit, you'll blow everything. Or if you have an alcohol problem or a gambling problem, it's all right here. But if you don't have those issues, I don't see a negative about living here. It's got the fourth lowest taxes in America. It's inexpensive. The cost of living has gone up since we've originally came here, but it's still lower than any other major area in America. There's no natural disasters. It's got the best restaurants in the world are all here. Like I don't see
Any kind of food, yeah.
I just don't see a downfall personally.
I still wake up a lot of days and say, damn, I live in Las Vegas. I mean, I said that for a long time when I lived in California because when you grew up on the East Coast and you watched all these TV shows and they all featured, all the things happening in California, right?
Yeah.
You thought everything was based. All the studios were there, right? Mm-hmm. So I remember seeing like Universal Studios like on these things and be like, man, if I could ever tour that someday. And I got to do that as like a vacation. But, and then I migrated to Vegas and to see the lights. And when I always tell people when I travel to these events, I live in Vegas, they're like, man, what's it like? But today, when I meet someone in fitness, I'm just like, the gym culture is crazy. Like, you can train at so many great facilities. And it seems like Dragon's Lair is probably the #1 destination for a lot of people
For
in
the
fitness.
bodybuilders, for sure.
Yeah. And of course, supporting Flex, buying some of his merch there, Fit Club. Everyone used to always go to Lift Factory because they had the murals there. That was good. Remember when I first went there, they were like, "Oh, we just wanted you to show up." They never imagined it would get super famous. And I hang my hat at Kilo Club a lot now just because it's a little more quiet.
Yeah.
And I feel like, as I get into my training, and I always talk about the meditation purpose, how important it is for me to train, why I do what I do. It's like I reverted back to how I started. So I went through this whole early stage of saying, okay, the meditation, the stress relief, all that was the gym was my savior. And then eventually became my job. Mm-hmm. And then once I quit, it was like, okay, I don't do this for a job anymore. Although I feel like social media is my job and I'm on there every day. I think that, now it's reverted back to my stress reliever, my meditation, although the training has changed a lot. And I see you're falling back into a good pattern of training where you were, I remember you saying to me, I'm just not motivated to train. I'm just not motivated to eat. And I think now that you've gotten sequence of somewhat of sleep, I notice you're sleeping a little later now. So you're actually getting good sleep. You're eating at least, you mentioned 4 meals a day, and you're training consistent now.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? For so long, we've just been go, 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 go.
Travel.
And when you're traveling and you're not, and I don't sleep good in hotels, I never have. And you're not sleeping good and back, it affects you. And like, there's times you get up and you're like, I don't even want to go to the gym today. And I haven't had that in a decade.
Do you take anything for sleep?
I tried.
Like some people, I mean, there's a lot of sleep formulas out there, and I know people are pushing for me to make one, but you know, some people smoke before they go to bed or take.
I've tried everything at one point or another, but what does it for me is just I probably consume too much caffeine. I know I do. I have really bad sleep apnea, but I have a custom mask, and that helps.
Do you stress later in the day or not so much? How would you rate your stress level at a rate of 1 to 10 today?
I'm not stressed at all.
So low.
Yeah. No, I don't. I get work stress from time to time, just when
you have to travel and book events.
Just because whenever you do,
I get anxiety.
Whenever you do an event, there's a lot of variables that can go wrong, and if something goes wrong, I'm the person they're looking at to fix it. So I'm always trying to foresee what's going to happen and make sure nothing does go wrong. So yeah, I get especially when it's a big expo or a big weekend and I have 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 people there.
What's the biggest event with athlete draw that you have coming up?
The American Fitness Expo, for sure.
And that's July 23rd and 4th, right?
Well, I'll have 15 plus people there.
Houston, big shout out to Malik and American Fitness Expo. Yep. We're all going to be in the house.
That'll be a big one, because not only that, I usually have companies involved, and I'm just involved across the board with that expo. I help get all the athletes booked. I help get the
title sponsors of that thing?
Celsius this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Celsius.
Yeah. Celsius is the title sponsor.
Yeah.
So, but we always, even sometimes going to a smaller event, you might not see it, or someone else from the outside might not see it, but when someone like Jay Cutler goes to an event, it carries a lot of weight.
Yeah, there's a lot of
so there's a lot of
behind the scenes.
Yes, there's so many moving parts that the average person doesn't see it. They don't see if flights are delayed or flights are canceled, or you show up and something's wrong with you've named it. We've had something go wrong, but you always find a way to maneuver it. Or you show up and things aren't the way they were supposed to be. Or sometimes we go outside and you're like, shit, we're gonna stay outside and sweat for 5 hours. Or like this last time, I went to Dallas for last weekend for Dana and Rob's FitCon. You went to Virginia, and I remember you messaged me, you're like, I'm stuck here in Chicago for 4 hours, and they've already canceled my return ticket. And I was like, in the back of my head, I'm going, oh, I'm in Dallas, I'm good. But you had to go deal with that. And the average Joe would not.
A lot of cancellations right now.
They wouldn't know all of this that happened behind the scenes. They just want to know if Jay Cutler's showing up, does he have a smile on his face or not? So there's always a lot of stuff that goes on. But overall, I don't have a stressful life. Like a lot of people have stressful lives, and the vast majority of stress they have in their life, they bring upon themselves.
I wonder, though, people listening or watching this, how many people have sleep issues? Because it seems like more and more people I talk to seem to have a hard time sleeping, whether it's brain shut off, drinking too much caffeine. Caffeine out of your life can make a huge difference for people. Sure. And I'm a somewhat of a caffeine user, but not to the extreme that I've been in the past. Yeah. I mean, I used to take a lot of fat burners, ephedra, caffeine, and that's how I got lean a lot. So in my early years,
I drink probably like 5 or 6 cups of coffee in the morning, and then on my way, if I'm coming here, I'll stop at Dunkin' Donuts and get a coffee, and then I'll come here and I'll drink 1 or 2 energy drinks, and you start adding it up, and you're like, shit, I'm probably consuming 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day. But one thing that does help, there's Justin Dees actually sent it to me. There's these certain waves that you can listen to that supposedly help calm your brain down. And
what is it?
It's some type of delta wave, and you can go on YouTube and they'll have like 10 hours long. And at night, what I've been doing is putting it on, turning it on loud, and dimming my computer monitor. And I've noticed I'm sleeping longer, because normally I get up at 4:45 to 5. Yeah. Now I'm sleeping until like 6:30.
Yeah, I texted you at 7 this morning. You didn't answer. So
I was already up.
You must have been sleeping still.
I was probably taking a dump or something.
Yeah.
But no, I do sleep a little bit longer, but I go to bed at 12 or 1 every morning every night as well. So, but I have horrendous sleep apnea. Like mine's.
I'm glad you finally figured it out.
Know,
but a lot of people suffer from
yeah.
it. They don't realize it. So if someone's suffering from sleep, I think they definitely should take a sleep test. How do you go about taking a sleep test?
So I went to my doctor, and they sent me off to get a sleep study because I had all this.
Like where did you do this?
It was in North Vegas, and you went into like a room.
Okay.
And they had a mattress there, and they hook you up to an EKG and about 20, maybe more than 20, probably 50 different electrical things they stick to your body, from your brain to your feet to everywhere. And you lay down, and you're supposed to lay there for 3 hours and sleep.
What if you're not tired?
I didn't. The night before, I flew coast to coast.
Okay.
And I purposely I stayed up the night before. I stayed up all night and all throughout the day. So when I got here, I showed up at like 9 o'clock at night. I remember landing at like 7:30. I got in my vehicle and I drove straight to the sleep study. And then I was so dead tired, I went to sleep. And you're supposed to sleep they told me I was supposed to sleep for 3 hours. Then they wake you up, then they put a mask on you, and then they determine how much pressure you need. And me, for example, I remember laying down and I was like, oh, wow, they woke me up right away. I was like, damn, I slept for 3 hours. And she's like,
right
it's
away,
been 15 minutes.
Yeah.
She's like, we can't watch you anymore. We're afraid like you might not wake up, because mine was really, really bad. So after
Did they have a level? Like
my pressure is 24. I have a bi-level pressure.
Okay.
Mine's 24 out. Mine goes 24 and 16. A lot of people might have 5 or 6, I think it's called centimeters of pressure, but mine's 24, which is.
Because I remember we were
genetics.
traveling, bro, and you were like, I just can't sleep. And
yeah, no, there was periods where I'd cough up blood. It was bad, really bad. So when I got my results
you can
back,
die from that.
Of course you can. Crazy. That's what killed Reggie White. That's what killed Pimp C. You know, he had sleep apnea, and he took
pay attention to it, or
you can have heart issues and everything from it. The doctor, when my results came back, I remember her sitting down with me, and it was funny because I had a transplant in this eye, and she was actually in the same office that my transplant doctor was in Wisconsin, and now she's an MD out here. And she saw something there. She's like, Freudert Hospital. She's like, and I told her my surgeon, she's like, I shared an office with him.
That's funny.
But I remember her looking at the page, and she goes, I don't know what to tell you, but you shouldn't be alive right now. I don't know why you are, but let's not talk about that. You need this machine. And I've slept without it maybe 3 times in the last 7 years.
And did insurance cover it, or?
At the time, yeah. I mean, I don't even, I mean, I've had the machine for 7 years.
It doesn't break or anything. No. It just works.
Yeah, knock on wood. But mine was like $3,000 because it's a bi-level pressure. But I get I don't even go through insurance for like my supplies, because you'll look like on the insurance website and they'll charge like $100 for something, and you can buy the same thing on like eBay or on like a sleep apnea site for like $25.
I never had sleep problems, bro. I never had like I snored at some point when I was heavier a little bit, but like I don't have like I sleep like a rock, man. Like as soon as I lay down.
I know. I think I have videos of us traveling around the world and you just falling asleep. And
like on the plane, I used to be able to set my chest used to be so big I could put my chin right here and it would hold my right, Larry. Remember that, right?
No, I just think of how many times we'll be on the plane and it'll be like we'll be sitting there and like 2 minutes later I'll look over and you're
Angie gets mad about that.
You just fall asleep.
You just fall asleep so easy, man.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because I always stress about this sleep pattern, and I always said you need at least 7 hours, but I sleep a good 5 hours.
I get 5, yeah.
But probably between 5 and 7 a night, depending on, I usually wake up between 6 and 7 in the morning, and I go to bed. I would say average between 10 and 12.
What do you stress about in life?
Not much, to be honest. I mean, business, obviously, like I got a growing business, and travel stresses me. Like when I have an event and we're getting close, it's Wednesday before Friday travel day. It's usually like, oh man, is the flight going to be delayed? And if I could snap my fingers and be from location to location, I'd be good. But if I were to tell you the most disheartening piece of my life right now is the travel.
See, now if you would stop being a cheap fuck and just buy a private plane, we wouldn't have to deal with this. Get rid of your cars and just have a plane. Then we wouldn't have none of this mess.
Get it all,
No, I don't. Traveling, like,
It stresses me out.
It stresses my sleep out, but it doesn't bother me.
It's not like going to the airport and going through security, but it's just the fact that I can't get that time back that I'm on a plane. So if I'm flying coast to coast, you know, it's 5-6 hours. Like, that's a lot of time where people say, oh, I got work to catch up on. But to be honest, like, I'm working round the clock anyway for like, I go through my emails several times a day. I clear everything out in the morning. Obviously, there's communication, but everything I get through is like first thing in the morning. And it doesn't take me a lot of time because I don't write a lot of long things anyway, and I communicate a lot by text or cell phone. It just works better for me for business reasons. So for me, I just kind of keep email chains running, but at the same time, I try to actually have like full-on conversations about it, so there's nothing really missed. But I would say definitely the traveling, because it's not even like, oh, I have to be at this event. I love being around the fans. Like I told you, I tried to stop, and I just couldn't do it. Like, and I won't stop. I won't stop. I mean, I'm still limited on, okay, I won't take this or that depending on like where I'm traveling the week before. Like, I'm off right now for a couple weeks through the 9th. I go to Ohio on the 9th, and then I'm in New York the next weekend, and then we're in Houston. So that's pretty hectic, 3 weeks, like a lot of I mean, I have to go basically to Ohio, and I have to come back and then go to East Coast and then come back. And then Houston's easy. It's only a couple hours, right? Yeah. But that's going to be a long weekend because we have a 2-day meet and greet event. And I
was looking on my my travel app because I don't have to travel for like a couple weeks, and I'm like approaching 100,000 miles already this year. Almost 100,000
so already. Status,
oh yeah, I've already hit it, but it just, you don't realize it. But every week when you go here, but in out, this way, that way, you don't realize it when you're caught in the moment. But I don't stress about traveling at all. I don't even like, I've been doing it for 20 years that even when I'm around people like, hey, are you ready for your trip tomorrow? I'm like, I haven't even packed yet. They're like, what do you mean you haven't packed? And I'm like, I just grab what I need. It's not a big deal. You
probably wear the same thing a lot. You know?
You know, I mean, you'll just bring one pair of jeans, couple nice shirts, and whatever because it's not like we have to wear suits and shit where we go. We're just going to expos or we're going to meet and greets, and it's just like a pair of sneakers, a hat, a t-shirt or a polo, and a pair of shorts. It's not, as long as the only thing that I would stress about would be one time, actually, when I went to Texas last year. So my sleep apnea machine has 2 parts. It's got a water chamber and it's got the actual machine side. I quit traveling with both because last year I went to Texas and I accidentally left the machine part at home and I brought just the water part. So I didn't have my machine for 2 nights. And that was hell because I'd wake up coughing and choking. And so I stress about that. I'll grab my bag and I'll look at it and I'll quadruple check it. Do I got the plug? Do I got this? Do I got this? Do I have my chargers? Do I have my stuff for my laptop and whatnot? But otherwise, other than that, I don't. There's times where I'll have a 6 a.m. flight. I'll just wake up at 3:30 and pack before I go to the airport, and I'll just jump on an Uber and go. Or sometimes I'll just park at the airport, depending on. If you're only going for 2 days, it's just better off park at the airport.
Yeah, I took an Uber from here the other day. It was easier for me. And
I mean, you can park your vehicle outside here. No one's going to mess with it, But if you're driving one of your bougie cars, you can park it in back.
So give me an update on all these athletes that are on your roster. What do we have coming up?
I don't think anyone I have is competing anytime soon. I mean,
how is Angelica doing now?
She's good. I FaceTimed her yesterday, and her.
So you guys that don't know, she had a baby.
Yeah, she had a baby.
Ago, right?
So I
saw them at the UFC fight.
Yeah, they were sitting.
I saw them sitting behind the cameras.
Yeah,
this
they were sitting right behind.
Where was it this weekend?
Was it in Austin, Texas?
Okay, that's where it was. Yeah.
So I FaceTime them on a regular basis, and her daughter is really starting to understand. Like, okay,
how old is she now?
7 months, 8 months. So she's starting to look at, when she FaceTime me, she'll look at the phone. And you can see, like, she's like, okay, who is this guy on the other side? Like, why isn't he here? And she just kind of looks at me with a curious look. But Angelica, she'll be at her first appearance in 2 years. She'll be at the American Fitness Expo.
Pretty cool. I saw the advertisement with all the girls. So they had her, Yarishna, and Barbara.
They got Barbara, Yarishna, her, Laura Lee, and Janet. And then there's still 2. We still have other.
So
girls.
What did they call that? There was some.
They're going to do a panel with those girls.
They called it some name. I don't know.
I forgot what they called it. And then they're going to have another panel with like Dana Lynn Bailey and Kristen Nunn.
Okay.
And then you'll probably have one by yourself. And I think Hani's going to come. We're still working on him. Probably get
Okay.
him to come down. And then we'll have, Regan and Hunter Labrada and Brandon Hendrickson and, another group of athletes. We'll probably have them all do a panel. But I don't have anyone competing anytime soon outside of Brian Shaw. He's got the Shaw Classic.
Risha's been traveling. She's been on tour.
She was on tour. She was in South America.
Yeah, I
with
saw
Carol
she
G
just.
for
I just
6
saw
weeks.
she did a little performance at the Junior Nationals,
Yeah.
which she looked amazing, man.
She was out of the country for 6 weeks.
I mentioned to you. I said, God, she's in such great shape.
Yeah,
Like,
she doesn't get out of shape. She was.
how'd she stay on that program when she travels like that? And
She just
raised
kind
her
of
food?
similar how you are. She doesn't like go have. She doesn't. She just eats healthy. Same with Angelica. They just eat. They don't go like.
I wonder how
binge.
Angelica looks now. Being
She's
competitive.
back to. She looks like she's back in the gym training like
ready to get
regularly.
back on stage, huh?
Of course. I mean, I'm sure everyone would love to see her do it. I don't know if she will or won't. I don't even say anything. I'm not even going to put that pressure on her. She's got a daughter. She needs to concentrate on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, nobody's competing anytime soon outside of, like I said, the Brian Shaw Classic, which is the second week of August.
Are you going to that or?
Yeah. Because Trifecta and Celsius will both be
Okay.
sponsoring that. So, and I always go support Brian, and I want to, his home gym's finally is done now.
It's
so
finished,
we
yeah.
got to fly up there and go. He wants you to do a podcast with him, and he built like an 11,000 square foot gym warehouse.
That's pretty cool.
That's in his new,
It's in Colorado.
yeah, next to his house. So
Yeah, I get a lot of people that stop me on the road about the podcast and said, "Oh yeah, I watched the Brian Shaw episode,"
Yeah.
and they're just floored by it's amazing what he transitioned to.
Yeah.
Being as a basketball player to becoming the world's strongest man. And
yeah, I mean, he was 40 and he got fourth this year.
one of the
that's-
pioneers.
That's crazy at 40 years old to be right there with the young guys still.
Yeah, I feel he could. This isn't it though. I hope.
I don't know. I mean, well, he's doing his show. His show will have all of the top guys, all the reigning world's strongest man. All the top guys will be out there. It's in I think I want to say Thornton or I forget the name of it. It's northwest of Denver. So I'll go up there a couple days before. If you have nothing going on, maybe we'll get you up there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, next episode, we're actually going to focus on the brands a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of what's happening and kind of talk about. I think a lot of people have that question, like with sponsorships and how to get involved with brands. I mean, I actually, I was one of the first to do many things in this business, and I was always had this vision to be an entrepreneur and kind of create my own, right?
Yeah.
But I still work alongside with some great brands, but every day is a grind, and creating content has kind of become the job now. And I feel there's some people in the industry, Regan, for example, who's great at creating content. Like he's a great content creator, and sometimes it's it's hard to. I think a lot of YouTube people would tell you, it's hard to top each YouTube video over and over, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're seeing some really off the wall type videos from people, but. I want to get into a little bit about what we have going on, transitional times and how it's changed. Larry's sitting over here. We talk about, he started my Instagram. I remember him coming to me that day and saying, "Hey, there's this thing called Instagram." And I said, "What is it?" He said, "You post up your life." And there was no Instagram stories then, so we were already doing YouTube at the time, but that got canceled because of contracts. And, now we have a lot of social media channels, including TikTok and whatever.
Yeah,
else,
I think there's something that we can touch on next week as well. There's not I don't know how to say this. There's a lot of people that think that there's a bunch of great like business people in the industry, but how many people really own almost everything? What I mean by that is you don't have 5 or 6 contracts that you're relying on. Mm-hmm. The supplement brand you own. Multiple clothing lines you own. Mm-hmm. You have other businesses that from the cultivation to medical stuff to you have your hands in so many other things, but even the brands that you do promote that you are a part of, you have ownership in them. Mm-hmm. And not a lot of people realize there's a huge difference between being a signed athlete, which your contract can leave tomorrow, or actually owning it to where when you're building something up, nobody can take it away from you. You're building your brand and your future.
I think because people's biggest concern is like, how do I get to that level, right?
Yeah.
And I remember even Nick Walker's parents coming, bringing him to the expo in Philly and being like, "Hey, I want my son to be at that level." And I said, he has to do something in order first to get that jump, right?
Yeah.
And look, he did the stage thing, and now look at what his career has done, right?
Yeah.
He's one of the biggest names out there. So, and I feel he's really good at putting himself out there that people gather interest for. But, you know, first of all, you have to be available. That's the most important thing.
Of course.
But we'll get into all that. You know, I just wanted to get on and kind of give you guys a little rundown of, you know, what's been happening, you know, episode 34. And, you know, we're making traction on this thing. I would love for you guys to comment or engage.
If there's something people want us to talk about or touch on.
Yeah. I mean, I know you guys shout out guests all the time. And one thing with us is, you know, we want it to fit right. And, you know, we want people to be comfortable. And obviously their guests kind of run a lengthy time for us. But we're on here every week trying to put out, you know, just topics, conversation. You know, a lot of this I feed off what I hear about when I'm on the road. You know, this past weekend I had a lot of great comments on all the content that's out there. And then, you know, we're just going to keep pumping it out. But we appreciate you guys follow. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, and share the video if you guys, you know, want to help us promote the Cutler Cast. Everything counts for us. So we'll see you guys next week for our next version of branding. All right. So episode 34, we are out.